Hey everybody, this is Nature Nate, and in this video I want to talk to you about this hat I'm wearing, which is the Outback Trading Company Kodiak hat. And this will be applicable to a lot of their hats. This guy runs about $60, that's what their website said, and I've had it for years and used it thoroughly. So let's talk about, first of all, it is what they call oilskin or oilcloth. So it's basically a cotton canvas that's been permeated with a specific mixture of oils and resins to make it really durable and waterproof. So it's I'll just talk about some of the qualities of oilskin and also my experiences with the hat. So oilskin is a really cool fabric. It's been around forever, and there's a reason for that. It really excels in durability, and it's also really waterproof. It's limited temperature-wise, so it's great in as a spring and fall kind of hat, depending on where you're at. But in winter, it doesn't. It's really interesting. If it's getting direct sun, this thing gets very warm. It does not. It says breathable on their website. It's really not that breathable. Maybe why they say breathable is because it's got those little grommet holes on the side, and those do vent the hat to some degree. But this is a pretty sweaty hat otherwise, especially in the sun. So you don't want to be. It's not a summertime hat in direct sun. You're gonna get way too hot. You're probably going to get a headache, that kind of hat. And then in winter, I was doing quite a bit with oilskin earlier in the winter, and it seemed to actually kind of suck your heat out. So you can insulate it and you can create the barrier, and if that's the case, it's really incredible for blocking wind and things like that. But as far as actually dealing with the cold, it almost seemed to kind of suck out some of the heat and this is just my experience, and I was wearing a big duster out in full exposure, no cover at all, and it just kind of seemed to pull my body heat away. So that was my experience, just something to consider. However, when you're talking about those in-between times, the spring and fall, it's just such an awesome material because of the durability, and it's got that perfect temperature in the middle zone. It will keep you somewhat warmer, and you can kind of layer under it with maybe a beanie or something. That really helps, or put something around your neck. I really enjoy doing that to add a little bit of extra heat. But one thing I really like about wearing a hat like this for precipitation instances is whether it's rain or snow, instead of having a hood on over your head where it's inhibiting your peripherals and it's inhibiting your hearing and things like that, you get to block all the rain. It's like a miniature umbrella. You get to block all that rain or snow, you get to hear, you get to still interact with your environment a lot more, so it's really nice for that, and that's why I wear this. So let's talk about some of my experiences with it. So I've worn this in a huge range of climates, from deserts to mountains to jungles, and same hat too. So I've had this hat for years, and it has changed. I've been in places where I've been in serious rainstorms, like over an inch an hour kind of rainfall in this hat, and if it's directly on top, it stays pretty good. Eventually, it's going to soak in right. So underneath this kind of leather band, you can see right there where it's actually sewn together. The water will eventually soak in through that seam right there. It's not like really seam sealed. I don't know how you really seam seal this kind of fabric anyway. So it will eventually soak through at that point, and kind of get this little sweatband kind of thing. It'll make that eventually get wet too. If it's not freezing, if it's not cold out, if it's a warmer climate, doesn't really matter. It keeps the majority of the rain off of you. But what happened to me, and then also if it's blowing in sideways, it will come in through those grommet holes, which is If it's a super heavy rain, you'll notice it. If it's a lighter rain, it's not that big a deal. You won't really have an issue with that. And then also where it comes in, you kind of saw it earlier, where this stampede strap, as they call it, which it does have that. That's a really nice feature for if it's windy or something. Where that comes in, you can also have the same issue where water can soak in through those two little holes where the grommets are. So under extreme conditions of rainfall, your head's still gonna get wet. And then what also happened to me, and this is in the jungle, it actually shrunk the hat a bit. So the fabric got so saturated, and it's still like waterproof, but it fully kind of permeated, I think, into the fabric, and it did shrink the hat. You know, not to an unusable size, but definitely became more snug. So again, that was under pretty extreme conditions. For most people's uses, it's not going to have that kind of issue. What other kind of things? Oh, and snow, awesome. Great hat in snow, as long as your head's staying warm enough. But again, you get to keep your senses available and still have the protection from the storm. So that's really nice. And yeah, this is just a hat. Again, it's a selective hat. I use it selectively, but when I do select this hat, it's one of my favorites. I think oilskin's a super cool fabric, and I have quite a few oilskin garments that I'm sure I'll talk about in the future. But this is a good starting point with the hat. It's a little cheaper. Oilskin's not a very cheap fabric in general. So as far as like jackets and stuff go, you can be looking at quite a bit of money. But with this, it's 60 bucks. That's pretty standard for a full brim hat. And anyway, I really enjoy this. I've had it for years. Been through, yeah, again, desert, mountains, snowstorms, crazy jungle, big rainstorms, all that kind of stuff. And it's still holding up all these years later. So anyway, as far as the Kodiak hat goes, Outback Trading Post, thumbs up on my accord, and I hope you found this video valuable. Thanks, this is Nature Nate, and I appreciate you all.